Hey everyone, this is Mike. Welcome back. And today we're going to begin a new series on identifying cognitive distortions and self-defeating beliefs and some of the techniques and interventions to challenge them. Now, as you may know, cognitive distortions are exaggerated ways of thinking that really have little to no basis in reality. Examples are all or nothing, kind of black and white dichotomous thinking, which is what we're going to talk about today, to overgeneralizing, to catastrophizing, to labeling and blaming, having dogmatic demands about the world, mind reading, fortune telling. And they're distortions because there's no truth to them on their face. For example, mind reading. We can't read minds. We can't. We can't predict the future. Now, we may guess, and we may be good at reading body language in people, but we're probably wrong as much as we're right, if not more. And so it's always risky to engage in these distortions. Challenging cognitive distortions allows us to look at things more realistically and rationally. And it does not mean doing the opposite, assuming we're the best. Like, I'm mind reading for the positive. I know I'm going to get that job. Because even though it's positive, that's still fortune telling. You don't know if you're going to get the job. So although I would want you to feel more positive than I would want you to feel negative, both are examples of distortions because we don't have any evidence. And what we're going to do today is talk about the cognitive distortion of all or nothing black and white thinking. And this is extreme types of thinking. So if something happens at work, you consider yourself a failure. You make a mistake, you're a failure. Someone rejects you, you're a loser. You make a mistake, show bad judgment, you're stupid. Even things like, you don't keep to your diet, again, you're a failure, or you're, overweight, you're fat, or you're ugly or something. There's no shades of gray. You can be more weight than you'd like to be. Maybe you can do your level of attractiveness, your intelligence. You may not be a genius, but it doesn't mean you're stupid. You may not be a model, but it doesn't mean you're ugly. You might not be, have a six-pack, but that doesn't mean you're fat. The idea that these extreme beliefs, and as you can imagine, if you think that way about yourself, you're going to get very upset. It's going to make you feel very sad and disturbed. So when you're thinking, just see whether or not you're thinking in this kind of all or nothing, black and white, extreme thinking. And one of the techniques that you can use to challenge this type of cognitive distortion is called examining the evidence, checking out reality. Is it true? If you make a mistake at work, is it true you're a failure? You failed at everything, right? You can't do anything right. That's not true. If you are somewhat overweight, does that necessarily mean that you're, fat, or that you can never keep to a diet, or that you'll always be a certain weight? And where do we draw the line? Where is fat or obese, or whatever word we want to call it? Same thing with skinny, or skin and bones people. All these negative. That's another thing. We kind of label ourselves things, which is not very positive. So we tend to, have these extreme ways of thinking. And so one of them is to challenge and look for the evidence for these beliefs. I don't have any friends. Well, is that true? You really don't have any friends? No one likes me. Really, no one likes you? Ever? Could be some people like you at least some of the time. I can't do anything right. Ever? You've never done anything right, even a little bit? So those are the types of things that we want to challenge, that I'm a good person or a bad person. I'm a bad person, I'm a bad friend. Always and forever, you're a bad person, you've never been a good friend. I'm completely undisciplined. Really, you've never shown any discipline in your life. So examine the evidence. Look for the fact. Is that really true? Look in the past to see whether or not you have done examples of these. So you want to find evidence, examine the evidence for the cognitive distortion of all or nothing black and white thinking. And just jot them down and write down the examples that where you have shown that you're a good person, but you can be disciplined, that it's not just a question of thin or fat or ugly or attractive or good or bad, or right or wrong, or a loser or not a loser, or a failure or not a failure. There are things in between. And you want to examine the evidence just to disprove that very rarely, if ever, is anything all or nothing, or black and white. It's that simple. It's just, life doesn't work that way. So see if you can practice this. You can write down, again, the thoughts that you're having that tend to be these all or nothing black and white thinking, and then write down the evidence for that. Is there any evidence? And I think you'd find that there isn't much evidence for that. In fact, there's evidence to the contrary, that it's not true. And you want to jot that down and look at things in a more realistic, objective way. Hope this helps, and I'll see you next time.